Welcome back to the Daily Dope Show. It's been a few days, but whatever. Yeah, there hasn't been a whole lot of news. All of a sudden, I say that, but yeah, I've just been lazy, to be honest. There's a whole lot of news. Anyway, we have a little update here today for you. Apparently, pharmaceutical companies are one of the biggest influences in the U.S. economy and subsequently in U.S. law. Well, gee, I wonder which laws you're talking about. I mean, we know this, right? So Big Pharma stands to lose $18.5 billion if all 50 states legalize medical marijuana. It's no secret that Big Pharma lobbied against medical marijuana and recreational marijuana legalization as they stand to lose a substantial amount of money. States that have already legalized medical cannabis are already seeing the effects. Prescription drug usage has decreased by an average of 11%. The National Academies of Science keeps track of the conditions most effective trade with medical marijuana, most effectively treated with, weird word there, and nearly all of them have high-profit prescription counterparts. Among conditions are glaucoma, chronic pain, nerve disorders, pain, post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, sleep disorder, and nausea and vomiting associated with chemotherapy. Forget about the fact that people are, treating like symptoms, and all of a sudden the thing that was giving them the symptoms all of a sudden starts getting better too. We're not even going to mention that. So Big Pharma is an incredibly powerful and lucrative industry. While $18.5 billion in losses over a 3-year period may seem enormous, medical cannabis would be a drop in the bucket when it comes to impacting the total pharmaceutical industry, according to Giada Aguirre de Carcer, founder and CEO of New Frontier Data. So, okay. Why are they worried about it? Well, medical marijuana is on its way up, guys. If you don't think so, just look around. Recent polls have found that 94% of all Americans, I think, maybe it's 92, I think it's like something like that, whatever, over 90, so 9 in 10, more than 9 in 10 technically, people say medical marijuana should be legal. I don't know who those other people are that say it shouldn't be. Fuck them. But anyway, yeah. So much so that we have Republican, Mormon, super conservative senator from Utah, Orrin Hatch. You might have heard of him. He's a hard right-winger. Well, he introduced a Senate bill on Wednesday that would make it easier to research the potential medical benefits of marijuana and whether it's safe and effective alternative to opioids. So at least the opioid part of the pharmaceutical industry should be shaken at the sound of that. The bill, known as Marijuana Effective Drug Study Act of 2017, or MEDS Act, is being introduced at a time when the U.S. is grappling with an opioid crisis that has caused teen overdose death rates to spike, a significant drop in U.S. labor force participation, particularly among American men, and has prompted President Trump to declare it in a national emergency. Now, I don't know if all this drug stuff that you're talking about has anything to do with this significant drop in the U.S. labor force participation. I think maybe that has something to do with the fact that the fucking labor market is shit. The jobs out there are fucking terrible. Nobody wants to pay anybody anymore. I don't know what the fuck this is all about. Has nothing to do with the subsequent, you're also talking about this opioid problem. So whatever, I don't know. Hatch, who is Mormon, is still opposed to recreational use of marijuana, but he noted in prepared remarks filled with marijuana-related puns that it's time to remove barriers preventing legitimate research into medical marijuana. And yeah, I could totally do without the puns, but This is an old, dusty-ass Republican doing it, so let's entertain ourselves. It's high time to address the research into medical marijuana. Our country has experimented with a variety of state solutions without properly delving into the weeds on the effectiveness, safety, dosing, administration, and quality of the medical marijuana. My problem with these puns is, man, we need to start fucking taking this shit seriously. Come on, man. And meanwhile, while you're fucking joking around about it, someone's getting fucking arrested for doing their medicine right now. So anyway, sorry about that. All the while, the federal government strains to enforce regulation that sometimes do more harm than good. Sometimes? How about all the time? To be blunt, we need to remove the administrative borders preventing legitimate research into medical marijuana, which is why I've decided to roll out the Meds Act. My God, even the name of the fucking bill. Just whatever, man. Whatever it takes to get noticed these days in Congress, because most marijuana legislation just, it's just the person that wrote it and a couple of sponsors. It's like their showpiece, like, hey, look at how liberal we are on marijuana. Because, they know that over half of the country is ready for regular marijuana to get legalized. And medical marijuana numbers are off the fucking charts. You have to go to some isolated cabin in the fucking mountains in Alabama across some creek where a bunch of fucking bluegrass is growing to find anybody anymore that would be like, no, medical marijuana is fucking bullshit. It doesn't work, and people are just smoking it to get high. I mean, maybe there's some people in the comments section that might say that shit from time to time, but nobody really feels that way. Come on, man. Most people are like, dude, why has the government fucking got their nose in my business anyway, dude? They don't tell you that you can't have a 6-pack of beer after you get out of work. And by the way, to those fucking just assholes who are like, fucking smoking weed is bad. The government should arrest you for that. Why don't you go to the fucking local bar and sit there and, criticize everybody as they're buying drinks? Because alcohol is a fuck of a lot more dangerous. It gets you fucking way more wasted. You can't even drive home from the bar if you drink too many of them, which is usually more than one. So fuck you, man. We're sick of you people out there, you naysayers, talking about marijuana like it's the scourge. This is ridiculous. It's not even a fucking thing. It's like a slightly more intense, level of something different that you don't normally feel than maybe like a cigarette or a fucking cup of coffee. So get the fuck over your fucking hate for marijuana and the people that use it. It's stupid. All right, the bill hopes to encourage research and potential medical uses of marijuana by streamlining the research registration process and making marijuana more available for scientific and medical research and commercial production of any FDA-approved drugs derived from marijuana. If passed, U.S. Attorney General Jeff Beauregard Sessions would be required increase the national marijuana quota in a timely manner to meet the changing medical, scientific, and industrial needs for marijuana. Man, I really wish the writing was a little smoother on this article. I guess it's probably not that bad. The bill will include protection to ensure controlled marijuana substances are not abused, according to Hatch's office. Of course, because you guys have always been so great at controlling marijuana as a substance that shouldn't be abused. You're doing a bang-up job, man. 80 years of locking that shit down tight as fuck. I commend you. Keep going with that attempt at fucking regulating marijuana, man. You're doing a great job of it. National Institute on Drug Abuse would be required to develop and publish recommendations for good manufacturing practices and growing and producing marijuana for research. Because they've done such a fucking bang-up job since the 1960s in that endeavor. Let me remind you that, no, they fucking didn't. The shit that they call research weed looks like somebody fucking took some oregano and took all the good stuff that actually looked like weed out of it and left you with the shitty stuff that don't look like weed. Mostly just looks like stems and some ground up parsley flakes. And they call that medical marijuana. And they're like, well, when you're doing research on it anyway, you're going to extract the THC and CBD or whatever else you can get out of that garbage and just test that kind of shit. You're not supposed to just, what do you guys think this research weed was for? Rolling up joints? You think you were just going to slap that shit into a fucking box of brownie mix and cook that shit up? No. You're supposed to take that shit in the lab, extract the stuff that's medicinal out of it, and test it. Give me a fucking break. There's probably more mold in that shit than all other medicinal substances put together combined. And it probably, if you had that shit in a jar for more than a day, there'd be no medicine left, man. The mold would have already ate up all the good shit. Anyway, it's just, that's what you get with Republicans. They're like, you know what? We want this shit to be under tight control. And B, we want the same assholes that were in charge of that shit for the last 70 years. We want them fuckers to be in charge of it for sure. So, yeah, bang up job, guys. He gave a big old speech, and this is like before he gave it, but I was thinking about watching it and then, doing a little commentary on it and shit, but that's kind of a big waste of time. There's more to the story as I'm leading up to it, like this isn't even the fucking climax. This is just Orrin Hatch, like this is just whoa, we're surprised. Republicans are actually like in the process of writing shit. I mean, this is Utah. They don't even have medical marijuana in Utah. Last time I checked, it was like, not happening. I guess I'll read this. It will surprise no one that I'm strongly against the use of recreational marijuana. I worry, however, that our zeal to enforce the law, we too often blind ourselves to the medicinal benefits of natural substances like cannabis. While I certainly do not support the use of marijuana for recreation. Yeah, you already said that. The evidence shows that cannabis possesses medicinal properties that can truly change people's lives for the better. And I believe, Mr. President, that we would be remiss if we threw out the baby with the bathwater. Good old classic Republican line. They always bring it up when they want to do something. And I mean, in this case, it's finally something good. But and so many times, like look at, I'm just going to take one example. Obamacare. You know what? Yeah, we shouldn't throw the baby out with the bathwater on Obamacare. We should just throw out the stuff that sucks about it. And you know what sucks about it? Insurance companies. We just throw the fucking insurance companies out, and Obamacare is beautiful. And you don't have to worry about buying it because everybody has insurance. Gee, then why would we have to have insurance companies? We don't have to. Why would you want a fucking middleman? All they can do is take your money and then tell you that you can't get this surgery or you should go to get that pill instead of this pill. We don't pay for those and you can't get generics on that. Does all that sound familiar? Yeah, that's a fucking insurance company. The government would be like, oh, you know what? You can't fuck people over like this. You can't fuck people over like that. And yeah, go ahead and fucking get a generic on that one if you need to. It doesn't really matter to us. We're getting good deals from the pharmaceutical company because they're not raking us over the coals anymore and telling us that we can't do any bargaining with them. So whatever, man. That's a whole separate issue, but it's the same kind of thing. It's like throw the baby out with the bathwater. With Obamacare, you guys are trying to repeal the whole fucking thing. And some of the things you want to repeal are the things that protect the fucking people. Like, oh, we want to get rid of the protections for pre-existing conditions. What? What in the fuck? Are you serious? So basically, once they do that, like almost half the people that have insurance right now probably won't be able to qualify for insurance because everybody's got a pre-existing condition. Are you fucking kidding? Do they have the option of kicking people that are already on roll off? If not, then you're stuck with that same insurer forever. Just typical bullshit you hear from Republicans. Throw the baby out with the bathwater. We don't want to do that. I hate that shit. We lack the science to support use of medical marijuana products like CBD oils, not because researchers are unwillingly to do the work, but because of the bureaucratic red tape and overregulation. Under current law, those who want to complete research on the benefits of medicinal marijuana must engage in a complex application process and interact with several federal agencies. These regulatory acrobats can take researchers over a year, if not more, to complete, and the longer researchers have to wait, the longer patients have to suffer. All right, I don't really give a fuck about what he just said. What I do know is that we need this research just as bad as those prohibitionists, reefer madness spewing fools need it too. Because they make talking points all day and act like they don't need research to say shit like, oh, marijuana gives you psychosis or makes, people with schizophrenia have more fucking schizophrenic, outbreaks or whatever. And it's like they just say shit like that because they can be like, oh, there's been studies that's been done. And, they can even dig some shit out of their ass that actually has it looks like it might be a study. But none of it ever was. There's never been a study on that shit, ever. The most recent thing I've seen said quite the opposite, that cannabis has a promising outlook for the treatment of Tourette's and schizophrenia. Yeah, that's what people are really talking about out there. So Republicans are a little bit day late, dollar short on this one. But, we'll give you an A for effort. But the real story here, and I hate to act like this is the real story for the reason that it is that Dr. Oz says medical marijuana can help solve the opioid addiction. Can help solve opioid addiction. Now, I don't know if the good doctor is even a doctor or whatever. These TV personality doctors always kind of they always make me feel a little uncomfortable. But whatever. This is from Tom Angel. Never thought I'd be going to Forbes to get my news from weed, but he got a job there and apparently must be treating him well. I know he pretty much dominates the search for marijuana news now. It's pretty much all him at Forbes. So, opponents of legalizing marijuana have long claimed that it is a gateway drug that leads to the use of other substances, but one of the country's most famous physicians says the opposite might be true. Quote, the real story is the hypocrisy around medical marijuana, Mehmet Oz, better known as Dr. Oz, said in the appearance on Fox News Tuesday morning. Quote, people think it's a gateway drug to narcotics, maybe the exit drug to get us out of the narcotic epidemic. I don't know if I want to hit play on that one, guys. Sorry. I'd rather not. But, hey, if he's talking about this to Ivanka Trump, man, maybe this is, maybe it's something. I don't know. Not a big fan of Fox News either. Oz also criticized marijuana's current status under federal law. Quote, we're not allowed to study it because it's a Schedule I drug, and I personally believe it could help. The physician/TV host and author said. Fox and Friends host Steve Doocy simply responded, wow. That's a weird place to say wow. Wow. Maybe we should watch that. I don't know. Never mind. The Controlled Substances Act, Schedule I, most restrictive category, is supposed to be reserved for drugs with no medicinal value and a high potential for abuse. Researchers have long complained that marijuana's classification there creates additional hurdles that don't exist for studies on other substances. Heroin and LSD are also in Schedule I alongside cannabis. Yet cocaine and methamphetamine are classified in a less restrictive Schedule II category. California lawmakers passed a joint resolution last week officially urging the federal government to reschedule marijuana. Uh-oh. Don't do it. I've been having trouble with the internet here, so there we go. Also last week, while introducing legislation to remove hurdles to marijuana research, U.S. Senator Orrin Hatch suggested the possibility that cannabis could be an alternative to opioids. A growing body of research suggests that legal marijuana access is associated with reduced opioid addiction and overdose rates. Oz has previously spoken about medical marijuana's potential as a safer alternative to opioids, as in he felt that thing that he was saying before was that doctors should have more tools in their tool shed. And he wouldn't go right out and say, cannabis is good for treating pain. But he was on that same refrain that we need more research and all this crap. So, big story or not, I don't know. I don't feel like it really was. Oh my God, with this internet situation, come on. But big shock, guys. The opioid problem is very, very solvable. I don't want to say it's hard to find the right wording. But what I'm thinking about is that going forward, it could be a lot less of a thing if we did let doctors prescribe medical marijuana for pain. If people did have options. Because when given the choice, people, by and large, people are saying, yeah, I'd rather use medical marijuana than opioids.
Actually, I talk about opioid epidemic, but what the real story is the hypocrisy around medical marijuana. And just real quickly, medical marijuana, people think it's a gateway drug to narcotics. It may be the exit drug to get us out of the narcotic epidemic, but we're not allowed to study it because it's a Schedule I drug. And I personally believe it could help.
Maybe the wow that Ducey was throwing out there, he's like, whoa, slow down, man. Our donors don't like it when you say real things like that. Yeah, our donors don't like that. $18.5 billion. If you ever watch Fox News, which I hope you don't, just bombard you with commercial after commercial after fucking commercial from the Big Pharma. It's all you basically just get inundated with that shit until you just like start having the side effects that they're telling you that you're gonna have from taking their fucking pills. So Dr. Oz on TV, on Fox News, talking to an audience that's over 65, probably all on pills, on probably a handful of pills. And he's saying real shit. Don't know if anybody cares about it. But when it comes to the opioid epidemic, yeah, we need to approach pain with a different logic. We need to approach chronic pain with more options for the person that actually has the pain, instead of just numbing them out and here, just take these. Call me in the morning. Well, that's all I got on this, man. It's kind of 3 stories in one. They're all about the same shit. And it's just medical marijuana. I don't know what the holdup is. The holdup is that Big Pharma hasn't figured out a way where they can crush everybody else. And that's all that they want to do. There's no question about it. They want to crush everybody else in cannabis. And they'll never do it because they'll never find anything that works better than whole plant cannabis. You can't do it. It's not meant to be, taken apart, isolated to its individual components, and then its individual components used as medicine like they do with every other fucking plant. And then what they do is they genetically alter the plant to kind of make it more of what they want it to be. And I mean, this is like the early stages of Big Pharma getting their hands on cannabis was what? Marinol. And then the other one where it's like some kind of mouth spray. And the shit's just not, now you got Sativex where it's like, okay, now we're going to actually put THC and CBD in there. Shit's garbage, guys. You can't fake cannabis. You have to go natural. That's all I got. I'll be back with more clips soon. And I will probably get back to doing weekly shows. There's a lot of stories built up. And as usual, I don't know about as usual, but I'd like to say that these stories aren't all like, they're not going to be hot off the presses or anything. And you might have even heard them in passing, or maybe even read the whole article that I'm going to read about them. But the thing about it is they're not. It's not like they're old news, you know. Like, that's the funny thing about these weed stories that I've been doing. I go back in my videos and look back at all the videos I've made so far, which is like close to 300, and I'm like, man, this shit's all still really relevant and valid, you know, like everything. And I'm starting to see a pattern. Like, there's only so many things you can report on with this shit. And, you know, basically famous people like Dr. Oz or whatever coming over to the dark side, coming over to the green side, stepping into our emerald forest with us. That's the only thing that really kind of jumps out anymore. I mean, you got this story over here, Sessions slams marijuana again. I don't even want to do any more stories about Sessions. It's like, I'm pretty sure Tom Angel probably don't even want to write any more stories about this bitch either. And here's his quote, in case you wanted to know. Just on Wednesday, he said, I've never felt that we should legalize marijuana. Well, no shit. I don't think anybody ever doubted that one, bro. Quote, it doesn't strike me that the country would be better if it's being sold on every street corner. We do know that legalization results in greater use. Well, just had a poll come out last week. That's not true. Marijuana does not lead to greater use, does not lead to increased teen use, does not lead to binge smoking and all this other shit. Maybe if you're talking about individuals using more cannabis than they used to, maybe. You know why? Because it causes the fucking price to go down when the black market doesn't handle it. And speaking of black market, it doesn't strike me that the country would be better if it was being sold on every street corner. You sound like some naggy old fucking lady, man. Shut the fuck up and go away, you goofy looking fucking elf. Look at this guy, man. He's about 285 years old, maybe a little bit, maybe 287. Hey, dipshit. It strikes me as fucking funny as hell that you don't realize that it has been being sold on every street corner in America since the fucking 60s and probably even before that, depending on if you had a good connect or not. So the question then becomes, do you want it to be sold on every street corner by the fucking black market goons that could sell you anything else you want and maybe kill you if you fucking owe them money? Or do you want that shit sold in a regulated environment where they ask you for your ID? That's up to you, Jeff. You old goofball motherfucker. There ain't really much else to this story, to be honest. So I feel like I just knocked that one out too. Tom Angel. Just moving on up. Maybe somebody can hire me. Pay me enough and I'll stop dropping them F-bombs. I don't know. I'm out of here, guys. Catch me on the next video coming out soon.